Welcome back to another episode of 7,000 Volts, Living an Electrified Life. And we have a guest, my friend, Dawn Webb. Welcome to the show.
Hi, LJ. So good to see you again.
It's great to see you as well. So I see you have your copy of the book. You
Absolutely.
have your tabs and your notes, and you want to interview me on this book, and we're going to dive into the book. It's some of the things that inspired you, that you want to share, some things that I can go a little deeper to share with our audience, and hopefully help people unite the purpose within.
When you sent me a message that you wrote this book, my first question is, why now? Like, what inspired you to write this message now for others to understand not only your life, but what you want to speak because of the experience of 7,000 volts? Like, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal, and it's a title and a part of my story that God has been giving me for a very long time. And what really united within me is God started giving me other ideas of other books and stuff, and I started writing stuff down. And he's like, clear as day, just like me and you were talking, he was like, yeah, this is going to be on the back burner, just like 7,000 volts and the other ideas I gave you. And it was like one of those moments, just like, I'm not that guy. No, who you, me? And so that like initiated the fire to get it done. And so we started the podcast, and I start talking about getting it done, and life happens and the kids happen. And so you're still working, but that past year and a half, it was like, it's time to get it done. And so now it's done. So now we'll get this book out into the world, in the hands of different people, and not hopes, but knowing that it's going to change their lives, so we can get to the next thing that God has for His people.
Well, let me take a step back for just 1 second, because as I got your book from Amazon, I went to chapter 1 first, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, looking at all the titles that you created, and like, just when a listener is listening and they open this book, what you share in 8 chapters is profound. And that's why when you invited me to like introduce this book to your audience and really have you share more about the message in your book, I look at the highlights and I'm like, okay, in your near-death accident, when you woke up, what did you want to share automatically that came when you woke up from this experience? Do you want to share with people so they understand that this isn't you're living, alive, breathing after 7,000 volts went into your body?
Well, in the book I share quite a few things, but I'll give a brief summary. After that experience, I just seeing your life almost just flash and taken away from you. It was like, if I'm gonna be on earth, I got work to do. I need to go into my purpose, and I need to be have an impact, because I've already had dealt with the prison thing, and I came out and I still was kind of on autopilot. And being on autopilot, you're here, you're conscious, but you're not consciously aware of what you're doing and where you're at. It happened the other day. I was driving somewhere. I wasn't using the GPS. I was just using the compass of the mind, because I knew where I was going. So I was driving, and at that same time, I had a 3:00 meeting. It was a telephone meeting with a group of people. It wasn't mandatory, but I like to be in part of those meetings, like brainstorming. And it was on my calendar. I had an alarm. Hey, at 3:00 you have this meeting. But I was meditating and driving, and I was on autopilot, and I just was drifting. And I figured out I missed my turn, so I wound up turning back and coming back. And I didn't realize I missed the meeting until 6:00 when I came back conscious aware, like, oh man, I missed the meeting. And that's how life is. It's like, it's not for me, it was just a few hours, just it, la la land, whatever you want to call it. But I was conscious, but I was unconscious because I was on autopilot. And that's how my life was before 7,000 volts. I was here, but I wasn't doing my assignment. I wasn't doing what God put me on earth here to do. And so now, when I prayed that prayer, Lord, I need a jump start. He said, I got a jump start for you, buddy. And he gave me 7,000 volts. And I haven't asked for a financial jump start ever since. So it drove me to where I am to now. It drove me to an abundant life. It drove me to being obedient to his will and his word.
It's so inspiring, LJ, when I dive in deeper, like, because I know you as a person, but the people that are watching today and the people that will discover you in the future and why you want to share your message. Like, it really does bring tears to my eyes, and knowing that God always gives us a second chance and that we're never alone.
Yes.
And what you write in this book is not just about you, it is about the life that God gives us to live right now.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate every word that you've given in these chapters. So I really want to dive a little bit deeper, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. It's one word I'll say, like, it's inspired by God. It's not the Bible. It's something like the Bible. God gives us visions, revelations, and his words, and through me, he's used me as a vessel to deliver his message through my life, through my story. And so that's how it came to be. Because when you want a story, you're gonna have to go through some things, and you might not like them. You might not like the path, but the delivery, once you understand what it's for and what it was for, and it's like, wow. And so that's what makes it even more interesting.
In chapter 1, LJ, the title of it is Overcoming a Tough Start.
Yes.
So your listeners out there right now that may actually be in a position without answers, and they've started very slow, or there's fear that's running the show.
Yeah.
In chapter 1, and then reading the book, like how they read, but what your meaning is behind this chapter and what you wanted to share with them from your experience. What would you say to them now?
Well, chapter 1 was kind of inspired, by my younger son, David, asking me a question. Dad, why life can't be fair? And, like I said in the book, it threw me back. It threw me back to a place that's like, wow. I started looking at childhood through my son's eyes at that moment, and my own eyes at a time when he was 5. It's like, wow, like, son, like, the first thing, like, I asked him, like, where is this coming from? Like, 'cause we were just chilling, just hanging out. It's like, I was like, do you understand how blessed you are, how good you had it and have it? Because I compare it and contrast to my childhood coming up, like the freedoms, the liberties, just the whole lifestyle that he has. He don't even understand what rough is. He thinks I'm mean when he gets disciplined and punished. All the kids do, but they don't realize that how good they have it. And so growing up, with a single mom, dad's not involved, moving from pillar to post and always moving around, it was one of those moments. It's like, man, I had it pretty tough growing up. And I'm sure there's people that had it even tougher. So I've never been a person to sit down and complain, oh, look at poor me. This is like, hey, I had to work. Even as a kid, if I wanted a toy or a hat or a pair of shoes or something that wasn't hand-me-downs, I had to go work. I had to hustle. I begged for money. We would, be at the Save-A-Lot on Fort Harrison down in Clearwater, like some people call it panhandling. I call it begging. I didn't like doing that stuff, but I did it. But I preferred to work more. So I was a younger entrepreneur at that time. And that's rough. And in fact, today I took my kids to the store because it was itching to spend some money. I said, okay, come on, we'll take you to the store. But also, I'm able to teach them financial literacy at the same time as well. I didn't have that kind of training growing up. I didn't have those resources growing up. So for me, that was a tough start. And and when I say it, that's a tough start for me. You can have all those resources and not have the love of your parents. You can have both parents and they not be present. And for you or for them, that's a tough start. So it depends on how you look at it. You know, it can be tough. You know, when we used to do Kids Day Out, and what kept me from doing different grants and stuff at the time because I didn't want to conform the vision that God gave me. People like, what do you mean? It's like, because if you take grant money or different funds, you can't say this, you can't use God, and you only can target one group of people. And God loves all of his children. So when we worked in the community, it's like young people. Young people, it's not a certain age group, but we target, you know, from try to 18, but we had adults get involved into to release the inner kid in them. But we was able to bring a diverse group of people together because of it. Because most kids don't have a job. They don't have those resources. Just because their parents are making money doesn't make it it doesn't make it their money. So hey, come on, get the free haircut, get the nails, do the rock climbing wall, have fun for a day. And so that's what we did. There's not a target group of people because I wanted to bring everybody together like this to bring in that diversity. What's good about diversity? You grew up in this neighborhood, you didn't have much. You grew up in this neighborhood, you had a lot. You come together, you get to connect, and you get to bounce ideas. You get to get the wheels turning, and somebody that never heard of something. This is what makes America great. You know, diversity. We're the melting pot of diversity, and so for me, the tough start was the tough start, and I try to outline the best way I can in chapter 1.
Yes, it's a great chapter.
Yes.
And then going right into chapter 2 and talking about wisdom and talking even about your granddaddy. And when we look at the things that we learn from others and what you're going to leave because of writing this story, what would you like to share about chapter 2 for the ones that are saying, okay, LJ, you are making a difference?
And so when I think about making a difference, it's for the present and in the future. Like years after I'm gone, somebody's gonna pick this book up and like, man, this is gold. This book changed my life. This story has inspired us to greatness. Somebody may be starting a business or in my industry, and they get a copy of this book, whether it's 10, 15, 50, 100 years from now. I believe this book will stand the test of time, and the wisdom that God has inspired me to write in this book will stand the test of time, because when God is in the midst, it's impossible to fail.
You know, you gave such a great description around game-changing guidance and how mentorship and what that does mean in your life right now and what it meant before 7,000 volts.
Well, as I navigated through life, you have to have a foundation. This table in front of us has a foundation door to flop on the floor. And, I didn't look directly to people. I looked to God, and he showed me that people came across my path. And now the other day we was doing a difficult tree removal, and like in the middle of nowhere, no equipment, it had to be climbed. All the pieces of the limbs had to be drug out, limb by limb, either with a dolly or by hand. And the security guy, he came out, man, this is going to be a difficult job for you guys. I don't know how you're going to do it. And I looked him in his eyes and said, actually, it won't. It's fairly easy. This is what we do every day. It's a little bit challenging, but it's not going to be hard at all. Because I knew if I accepted what he said at that moment, I was going to have a tough day on my hands. And it's because I'm rooted. I have that foundation to recognize negativity in somebody trying to set the standard or set the energy for my day. And if you don't recognize that stuff, somebody can say something to you and then you have the worst day of your life if you don't recognize it. And so we go over that, choosing mentors, choosing the right people, not as gods, but just as mentors. I mentioned Shaquille O'Neal, and I didn't mention all of about Shaquille O'Neal in my book. And I was so mad at Shaq when I was a kid, when he left for Orlando Magic. Man, why you left for Orlando, dude? Like, I was so mad at you for the longest. But the man that you have become, I titled you in my book as my big brother because one thing that you did, I don't know if you realize, I don't even know if there's a Payless shoe that's even existed, but I was able to get a pair of Shaqs as a kid because I was able to afford them. I was able to go rake some yards and afford them because he sold them at Payless. He said he wanted kids to be able to afford his shoes. And that inspired me. And he's always been like my big brother because of it. I'm still kind of bitter that you went to LA and didn't stay in Orlando and get us those rings over here, man.
Now, OJ, in the book, there are 3 pillars that are your foundation. Will you share with everyone what those pillars are? And it brought such great meaning to the words as I was reading. And I just would love to hear what you want to share with them.
So the 3 pillars, it's for me, it's basic. It's family, faith, and community. Well, family is the most important thing to me. People always ask the question, I don't understand how you do it. I'm like, you don't try to understand. Just, you have to live life for yourself. You have to ask God for guidance. And when he gives you those guidance, in your mind, where your priorities are. My priority is my family. So whether Gabby has a gymnastics meet or Michael has a soccer or a basketball game or David or Olivia, because Jeremiah he's older now, so he don't demand that same attention. So just like you say, you say it out loud the prayer, but sometimes under your breath, Lord, don't let me be late for this game. Let me make sure that I make it. And so you make them a priority. I try to be there when they wake up. Sometimes I'm not there when they go to bed. And that's where the challenge comes in at. Sometimes I'm gone before they get up, and I don't get back before they go to bed. That bothers me. And I say, man, I'll go in their room and kiss them on their forehead. It's like, Daddy loves you, and because that's the most important ministry for me is my family, because that's the vision that God gave me. And then within the community, you do what you can to help those less fortunate when opportunity presents itself. And how does that look? There's no one recipe fits all. It's like you have a sensitive spiritual ear. So whether you're at the gas station, you hear somebody struggling, and you just pop up, no cameras around. Say, hey, let me help you out with that. Or it's the grocery store or a restaurant. Wherever the opportunity presents itself to be that blessing, to be that miracle, you just do it because the Spirit always aligns. And it tells you when. It's like, shh, listen. And you know exactly who to help. And you're not doing it for any recognition, but to the glory of God. Yeah. And so that's part of one of those pillars that you talk about. It's like, and you don't talk about, like, what I just told you. Some of that stuff is not in the book. Some of it doesn't need to be talking about. You just do it because it needs to be done. It's not for recognition.
Oh, Living an Electrified Life, the subtitle.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at living an electrified life and what that means to you to share with others, because you went through that experience, and not all of us have gone through an experience that is living as a miracle. Mm-hmm. God's hands upon you. It's always been upon you. But when you woke up and recognized that blessing, can you share with us in those moments, and as you speak living an electrified life, what does it mean to you, like today?
It means, it's not just words. It really means I'm living an electrified life. Like some of the visions and dreams I had as a little boy, it's overwhelming to see it in living color, like the reality of it, to be able to, not the material things, but you can add that in there as a bonus. Some people try to, I have nothing to sell. If you want to buy my book, it'll be a blessing to your life. And I say that with all honesty. Like when people say, God bless me with a great business and we're really good at what we do. And because the byproduct of it is, we're able to do a lot of things. We're able to buy a lot of different stuff, but it's not about stuff. And that's where people get lost. They get lost in the eye candy. They get lost in the click and bait. Oh, somebody's trying to sell them something, so they show them the fancy house and cars. It's like, oh, you can live like this here too. Yeah, you can. And you not have a foundation, and then you're empty inside. It's not about stuff, people. It's about living an electrified life. How do you do that? Well, you have to be grounded. You have to have that peace. You have to have that togetherness, because you can have all the things and feel empty. And what's the point if you're empty? What's the point of having all this money? People think, well, if I have all this money, I won't have any problems. If you don't have a foundation with all that money, you're going to have a lot of problems. And we see it play out in society. And so we just being able to be in good health and spend the best years of my kids' life with them being a father, following the example that the Bible has given me, because I didn't have that example growing up. And that's the key. My grandmother, before she passed, she used to always say, like, how did you get so smart? I said, you think I'm smart? She said, how did you get so wise? She's like, I said, I just try to be obedient to what God has instructed me to do. And I said, that's the simple recipe: be obedience to what God has instructed me to do. And what happens, the things that you do to get by, you don't have to do anymore. And I bring that up because my wife used to be the queen at couponing. I mean, I don't know how she did it, and I still don't understand how she did it, but she would go to Publix or Walmart or wherever she went and get $200 or $300 worth of grocery, and they wind up paying her $30. I'm like, how did you do that? She was couponing. We were surviving. We didn't have all the finances, so we made do. We wasn't trying to live off government assistance or anything. We wasn't looking for a handout. We figured it out without complaining. And I asked her the other day, I was like, what happened to the couponing? She said, we got too many kids. I don't have time to be doing all that. So as you grow, certain things you used to do, you don't have to do anymore, because your time becomes more and more valuable. The way I used to operate in the tree business, I don't have to operate anymore because my time has become more valuable. And God has blessed me with the resources, so we don't have to operate that way.
LJ, how do people get a copy of your book?
The same way you did, on Amazon, or they can go to ljtucker.com and just click on the link, and I think it'll take them to Amazon. Or if you want an autographed copy, I believe you just go on my website and navigate through it, and you can get an autographed copy of my book as well. And that means I sign it and then we send it directly to you. Thank you, Dawn, for being on the show. I appreciate your wisdom, your spiritual guidance, and your obedience to God to just flow. I thank you for your encouragement of the book and all that you have imparted in me over the years. I appreciate your friendship. And I hope the audience, I'm using that word hope, I know the audience is going to value what you had to say on the show today.
Thank you, LJ. Truly, living an electrified life can inspire all age groups and families, churches, and our friends. So I'm thankful to call your family a friend, and I look forward to what's next.
Amen to that.